Thank you for staying with us. The program is still the Afia Morning Show, and of course it's been a packed show so far, quite political and also quite courtish, if we can say that, from Mazina Bekano to the case of this young man that is accused of butchering his wife and causing her death. I mean, it's just such a sad reality that we have to watch, but we'll continue to follow that story. Now, away from there, October marks Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And of course, this year, the theme is also as packed as always, as we're looking at the uniqueness of every journey and how every story matters. To shed more light on Breast Cancer Awareness Month and how we can all check ourselves, especially as women, or how as a husband, you can, of course, advise your wife if you think there's things that she's complaining about repeatedly. We're joined now in the studio by Mr. Onyedikachi Egudu, who is a medical student, and Dr. Chuzaram Iwago, a medical doctor.
Good morning.
Good morning, and thank you for coming.
Welcome. Yeah.
Thank you.
And I see the different shades of pink. Now I feel, just somehow odd. Oji has some pink. I don't have any.
Nice.
I'm out of place.
No problems. Represent.
Thank you both for coming, and so good to have you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
We have to know about this, and I'm so happy that you're here to tell us that. But before we get into the theme and breast cancer, we also joined virtually from Bremen, Germany, by Miss Ruth Chigbo, who is a founder of ThriveBold and a 2-time TEDx speaker. She is also a survivor herself of this condition. As you can see her, she is out there shining beyond all difficult times that she's gone through. She's a story of survival, and she'll be sharing her story on the morning show today. Thank you so much, Miss Ruth, for joining us this morning.
You're welcome.
All right, so we're going to come to you, but first, let's try to get insights on this breast cancer awareness. So let's start with you. You are a medical doctor, and I know you have a lot of awareness about this, and we'll come to you too. You've always been here on Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So let's start with you. Could you walk us through what breast cancer means, this year's theme, and why it's relevant?
Okay. So first of all, breast cancer. So before we talk about what breast cancer is, what is cancer? Cancer is when the abnormal cells begin to grow and divide uncontrollably in the body, and this begins to affect the normal tissue. So good, we know what cancer is. So what's the breast? Everybody knows what the female mammary gland is. You understand?
Yeah, when you said we all, I looked at it, I said, okay, just you and I.
I was trying to.
Yeah, go ahead.
So you bring breast, you bring cancer. So what that tells you is that, the cells in the breast are dividing uncontrollably. They are growing more than they should. Please forgive my pronunciation of uncontrollably. Yes, and they are dividing more than they should, and this is affecting the breast tissue. So breast cancer is when the abnormal cells begin to grow and multiply uncontrollably in the breast.
Right.
And one thing you need to say is that it doesn't just happen in women, it can also happen in men too.
Oh.
But it's much rarer.
This is new.
It's
Exactly.
extremely rare. It's much rarer in men, but more commonly in women.
I mean, Daddy just clocked your teeth.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about that too, but go ahead.
Okay, let's come back to you now. I mean, it's great that you're here because we're talking about men. Okay.
Men, breast cancer.
So I'm always quite excited when I see you here on issues concerning breast cancer, and I want to know why you feel that need to sensitize even more than some women, myself inclusive. You raise more awareness than I do. Why are you so passionate about this?
Okay, the truth is, breast is really doing well in terms of sensitization, but the truth is, even more than prostate cancer that affects men.
Right.
But the level of ignorance that I still see when I get to the clinic, I still get to see a lot of women who are already in very advanced stages, and I'm like, oh, but there's a lot of, 1st October, a lot of women are already talking about breast cancer, but yet, when you come to the clinic, you see a lot of people in like stage 4, stage 3, and you're like, I thought we were talking about this everywhere, and why are people still ignorant of this situation? So I just felt we need to do more awareness, more sensitization, tell people what it is. The truth is, when you tell people to check their breasts, it's not necessarily like you're telling that person that the person has breast cancer or the person has a lump. There's something we call breast memory. We tell every woman to check their breasts to know what the normal is, so that when you notice any abnormalities going on, you'll be able to detect it. So I'm not just doing it for the cancer itself, but to prevent the onset. The onset is what I'm trying to, it's more of preventive.
Beyond seeing the level of ignorance in society about breast cancer, have you seen anybody suffer and die from that condition because of it?
A lot of people.
What story connected you to this cause?
I finished my general surgery posting, a rotation that we do in medical school, and then I noticed that every time I come to the clinic, I get to collect. There's something we do. We take history. That's what we do as medical students. I get to collect more than 10 people every clinic. Every clinic. There was a particular woman that she came. We told her, the treatment modality, and she refused. And all of a sudden, it got to an extent where it couldn't be managed. And we just asked, my consultant, and a lot of people were telling me we're just watching her to die. So you understand that, in as much as this is a death, it causes, it can lead to death, it's still curable. So I'm like, why do people still have to die when you're seeing other people surviving? Let me raise more awareness on this situation. You see, when the team is saying every journey matters, every story is unique, is linked to the fact that everybody has their own story. Like, it's not the stage that you discovered your own, that I discover my own, or the other person discovers their own. It's different. Even the treatment modalities for different stages are different. So that is why the idea is to make sure that people get to know about it at the earliest stage. The moment you just notice the slightest lump, something needs to be done.
You are also the Nigerian coordinator for the 100K Black women saved by 2030 from breast cancer.
Yes.
What's the progress with that?
It's really going well, because we had outreaches to markets, went to New Haven market. We saw women who already had lumps in their breast, even though it wasn't painful. I didn't even understand that, it doesn't have to be painful for you to know that this is a problem. So we sort of advocated for them to come for people who are above 35 can come for mammogram. Then people who are less than that age can also go for ultrasound. The truth is, it's not every lump there that it's cancer. So a lot of people have that lump, but they don't want to tell you about it because they feel like, they treat it as if it's HIV, but it's not. It's something that is curable, something you need to share. So we're going out with the 100K women advocacy, 100K Black women advocacy, to tell people that once you notice this, and please come to us. Let's do a mammogram screening. She is the head of Ruth Chigbo is the head of the whole initiative, and she has plans for mammography and for ultrasound.
And she's gonna tell us about that. Oji, go ahead.
So please indulge us. Give us insights on this. You just stated that yes, that men too do experience this. What could actually be rare, 1%. But then again, it's good to sensitize and let people know, because I bet you some people are hearing this for the first time, that men could actually have breast cancer.
Yes. Men also have breast tissue. It's just not as developed as women's own. You understand? So so yes, there's a possibility that abnormal cells can begin to grow and multiply. Right. You understand, in men's chests. You understand? So I would advise the men listening to also conduct chest exams on yourself.
So how do you do it?
Okay, so to conduct a breast exam, so first of all, you have to start first by remove your shirt and then look at your breast or your chest in the case of men.
Use chest.
Okay,
yeah, thank you.
At your chest. Look at it at the mirror and then inspect it. How does it look different than it normally looks? Is one getting larger than it normally was? Is the shape changing? Is the size changing? Is it beginning to look darker than it normally looks? Look at the nipple. Is the nipple going inside? You press the nipple. Is there a fluid coming out? Is there a discharge? What is the color of the discharge? Is it bloody? Is it smelling? You understand? That's the first step. Then next up, you lie down, and when you lie down, you put, for examining the right chest, you put your right hand behind your head, you lie down, and then you take your left hand, and then you begin to massage the breast, checking if you will feel any lump, any unusual thing that you've just not felt before. It can be hard, it might be soft, it might be painful, it might be smooth, it might have an irregular shape. So you just, at each area of the breast, you start rotating your palm, checking, you check every area. And don't just stop here. Also extend the examination into your armpit area, because there is something called the tail of Spence, and that is, the tail of Spence, part of the breast tissue, also goes into the armpit. I'm not trying to say if I open your armpit right now, I'll see breast there. No, that's not what I'm trying to say. but the breast tissue also extends, and that extension is called the tail of Spence into the armpit. So at times, you might examine your breast here in front of or at your anterior chest wall, and you do not feel any lump. But it's possible that the lump might be around here. So it's also good for you to examine. And also, the thing about breast cancer is that when it begins to spread, it usually spreads to the lymph nodes around your axillary lymph nodes, because this area is known as your axillary area. It usually spreads to the axillary lymph nodes in this area. So you might examine and feel like one of your lymph nodes are
Swollen.
Swollen. Quite interesting. Has your question been answered?
Yes, it's good. And I love how you teach.
Put all that comic and stuff.
Of course. All right, now let's head over to Bremen, Germany, where we have Miss Ruth Chigbo, who, like I said, has survived from this condition, proving the fact that breast cancer is not a death sentence. Miss Chigbo, thank you once again for joining us. Could you please share your story, your survival story with us? Walk us through your background and then tell us how you survived this condition. Okay, we're having some trouble hearing you, Miss Ruth. Maybe you can adjust your microphone so we can hear you clearly.
Yes, now.
Yes, let's attempt to. Go ahead.
Okay, good. Thank
Better.
you. My name is Chigbo Adetutu, and I'm from Enugu State, studying in Germany. And 2023 was a very traumatic year for me, yet a very refreshing year for me. And that was because it was both good and, I would say, bad, in the sense that I had a lot of plans traveling to Austria, because I'm also very key in social impact. So I have a lot of social impact contribution, so I travel a lot because of that. So, but then after all the plans, I found out one day while talking to some few of my mentees, that one of my mentees actually was sick, and one of them was had a false alarm of HIV. So while consoling them, while being in their space to let them know that this is not a death sentence, I kind of had some urge to go and check my own self, because I am someone who's so touchy that I believe what God cannot do does not exist, and I don't really need to go to hospital, and my body is a big body kind of thing. So I have my insurance here in Germany, which is free. I can go to hospital and work, but I have never used it, because then what's the need when God's there, you know? So which means that the cultural bias of breast cancer is also what's in me. But due to the fact that I was helping my friends and my mentees in this situation that we are, I decided to go check myself, and that was the first time I've ever done that. I went to do my full body check, and I just touched my breast, and I feel like something was there. Then when I went to take up my results, I kind of spoke to my doctor that something is in my breast, but I don't know what it is. The doctor was like, "Oh, there's nothing," because it was very tiny. That means I found it really on time. That was why it was so good for me. So, and then after everything, say, okay, if you are doubting there's something in it, if you feel convinced there's something in it, maybe go for mammography. But then my age was not so good for mammography. So then I had to went on ultrasound, and the guy said, "Oh, there's something, but we're not sure if it's cancer. Let's do an operation." They did an operation, removed it, and did some biopsy. And then I was called in a meeting of 7 panelists, different professional in medicine, oncology, psychology, rehabilitation, and everything. And the day I entered inside the room, I knew there was something wrong. So that was when they broke up the news for me, and I have to start my treatment. Honestly, I didn't want to, because at the moment I mentioned it to my family, my mom and everybody in my house felt sick, because in their head they have never imagined anybody that have actually survived it. And as at then, I have not ever seen anybody that survived it. So everybody I know that has this treatment, also I know have always died. And just that same day, my uncle's wife died of breast cancer too. So it was like very scary for me to decide to make treatment. So there was so many myths coming back home, don't go and stay there, maybe they want to kill, all those kind of religious issues that we have in Nigeria. But then I was actually working with a company here in Germany, and I went to work, and I decided to tell my manager, because then I have to start my treatment anyway. And then she told me that one of our colleagues has actually survived it 20 years ago. And this woman is someone that I admire every time. I like her style of dressing and everything. So I woke up to her and I was like, "Ma, I heard you had this." And she was like, "Yes, I had it. I even had it tied afterwards." And I was just surprised when I had it. That was the courage I wanted, just hearing her news, hearing her story that she was able to survive it. And I came back home. I have already booked my flight. And I told my mom, I'm canceling my flight. I'm going to take through the treatment and I'm going to survive. And that was how I started the treatment. And it was the hardest decision of my life because every day I regret saying I will not go back to Nigeria. Every day I regret it. And at the point when I wanted to even quit not going for my medication anymore because it was so difficult, I don't have family here. I'm only depending on friends to come and help me when I'm down. I only picked up courage from the people who were now feeling, because then I went to TEDx to talk about this, even while on the treatment. Then I started telling people about the story, even while on the treatment. So the courage I was getting from people was now the life that was helping me to survive throughout. And that's how I finished the treatment, went to chemotherapy, did radiotherapy, and now I'm currently in the hormonal treatment. So that is my story. And that is why I always say that knowing is enough. Knowing is enough is one of the key words I tell, because I am an example of somebody who is hesitated because of religion, who has hesitated because I have not seen any sample of another person surviving, who has hesitated because of so many other reasons that, okay, maybe there's a bad diagnosis. Being in Germany, where there's a lot of not so much good in terms of migrants and in other places. So some people even came with the mystery of, oh, maybe you are so intelligent or you people want to kill you. There's so many things I heard, you know.
Right. Thank you. I mean, you've shared your story, and it's just great. You've pointed out so many things. People have lots of ideas that could even affect their ability to take action, even when the condition has been discovered. But you are saying this morning that early discovery and action is important beyond religious and cultural stereotypes. Notice it and take action immediately, and that's the message we're going to take home. So we encourage everyone, all our viewers, to go ahead and check themselves. Men, women, of course, men are not excluded from this one. Go and check yourself and ensure you intervene early through, of course, professional medical professionals. All right, thank you once again for being here. We're already out of time. We could go on and on, but yes, I think we've done what we need to do with this segment. The morning show comes your way again tomorrow, 8 a.m. Up next is the Business Morning with Marvelous Apamaga. Until we meet again tomorrow, I remain your host, Natalie Uku.
I remain OG Wachiku. Happy Thursday. Bye for now.